Hello, friends. We have made it to the episode in which I'm wearing this shirt. It's also the first solo episode for Lizzie. So, that means that I don't have anyone to talk to today. Oh, wait, that's not true. I have a very special guest. My name is Ashley Clements.
And my name is Hank Green. Welcome to the Look Back Diaries.
Theme song for Hank. Thank you so much for being here. What a pleasure. I am a little bit more nervous today than I have been for other people because the truth is that you and I do not know each other very well.
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely interacted, hung out, had lunch, done things together. But for sure, y'all spent a lot of time together.
Maybe the last time we saw each other would have been 2014 VidCon?
Yeah, probably VidCon 2014.
We did a big Lizzie reunion then. So I think that's probably the last time I saw you. But of course, like many people on the internet, I have seen and heard you so often over the years that I feel like we talk, but we
don't. The same, yeah. Where I know what you're up to, I see your tweets, I see your Instagrams, yeah. Just like a old high school friend.
We are here. I didn't tell Hank what episode we were doing beforehand, but it's episode 7. And what's funny, because I decided to book you for this episode a while back in my planning, I have a whole spreadsheet of the episodes and guests. It's color coded. You're green.
Nice.
I thought that made sense. Yeah. But so I had already decided you were going to be for episode 7 because there's no obvious guest, and I wanted to get you in early because you created the show and I wanted to talk to you about that. And one of my patrons gave me a full list of who did the commentary on the DVDs, which I do not remember at all. And you did commentary on this episode on the DVD as well.
Oh.
But I haven't heard it because while I have the DVD, I do not have a DVD player.
Here's mine.
Here we go.
It lives on my shelf.
It's a collector item that I have because I don't have that many published things with my face on it.
Yes, absolutely. That's how I feel about it too. I'm like, I don't have a lot of DVDs that I helped make.
Right?
And also that DVD was extremely hard to make.
You have talked about this episode before, but it's 10 years later, and what do any of us remember?
Who knows, man? Yeah.
Here's something that I did not remember, but recently was going through my old emails trying to drum up memories about this time. This was an added episode, and it was originally called 6.5 because, there were 7 episodes in the first batch, and then I think probably the reasoning was that we had just not really hammered home this whole Darcy thing yet. And that was going to be important.
Yeah, turns out pretty important character.
So you wanna watch someone who doesn't like somebody really talk a lot about that person?
It's the enemies to lovers. Okay, yes, I do. I very much do. Should I watch it on my own, or are you gonna make me watch it? Is it possible for me to see it from your screen? Oh, look, there it is.
Look at that, with this incredibly flattering. I should say Hank edited the first 24 or so of these, so all of these freeze frames are Hank's fault.
every frame in which Ashley looks not perfect.
No, there's plenty of other things that are my fault, but that is where. Yeah. So I remember that we were. This is like the one episode in the first batch in which I'm wearing less makeup because we wanted to make the idea that I had been going to bed or something, and I just couldn't not rant.
Right. Well, that must have been that it wasn't the first shoot day as well.
No, this is all the first shoot day.
So you just redid the makeup. Okay.
Yeah, which might mean that we did this one first or last. Maybe. First or last, one of the two. Probably last. I can't remember the order. For some reason, I remember that the first episode we shot third, and that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
And no, you know what? It must have been first because I had already worn this shirt when we decided it would be Lizzie's costume theater piece. But that episode comes before, and we kind of did it accidentally out of order.
Yeah. How long were your shoot days? Like in hours of sitting, of like being in the house together?
They became a standard 12-hour shoot day, which is a standard film set day. Yeah. But the first day they scheduled 8. They thought we would do it in 8. And then as we kept going, I remember Jenny being like, "Are you okay to keep going? Is this okay?" Mm-hmm. And I was very green, so I was like, "Yeah, of course it's fine."
Yeah.
I mean, a 12-hour day is standard, but SAG, whatever.
It's a lot. I go cross-eyed after like 3 hours, but we go nonstop on teleprompter. So.
Well, I would have loved a teleprompter.
Oh yeah, I bet. And like, there's no reason why you couldn't have done it.
Well, you made the budget.
Well, except for the reason that we couldn't have done it is in back then teleprompters were like a $30,000 piece of equipment, and now they're an iPad. I think now with a piece of glass. Yeah.
Exactly. So technology has changed, but yes, you footed the bill for the first chunk of this.
Yes, we didn't know how we were going to fund it. I love like you being all on your own. I was always a little bit like sort of like it's weird. It's kind of weird to have a person be in a vlog with someone else. Like, it doesn't happen very often where two people are accompanying each other on the screen. And so this is where it felt like this is classic vlog. I can edit this. I know what's up, and felt really good about it.
Well, and I was like,
did it feel weird to you as
to learn?
Oh, that's cool.
So you know that, don't you?
Ask. No.
Oh, so yeah, Hank, because I basically did not know what vlogging was. I was not really in tune with YouTube culture. And so when I did the audition, it didn't say cut, which is what the scripts would later say. It just said pause. And so I just kind of like acted my way through it.
Like,
I'm saying something, and then I'm thinking about it and saying the next thing. And I didn't know what any of that was until, I want to say, after I'd gotten the part. And it was explained, those are cuts, and you should watch vlogs. And he told me to watch you. And he told me to watch Grace. Good. Yeah. And I feel like those were my main sources of
I think that makes a lot of
inspiration.
Sense. Yeah. Because originally, I my first thought was there should only be one character. Like, there should only be one person on the screen in the style of, now we would think like Lily Singh, who plays all of the characters. But at that point, Lily, it was like Happy Slip was the person who sort of pioneered that originally, who no one remember, Christine Gambito, who's amazing, but stopped making videos
Hank with the YouTube
a long time ago. And so that's where the dressing up, that's where like being your mom came from. Like, you get that moment where you get to be Darcy with a little red bow tie.
It is a great bit.
Yeah.
Well, and it really came to define the series. People love costume theater. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about the series, because you had a crazy idea. It's funny. I feel like you and I both did a lot of interviews that around the time that the show was on, in which we repeated ourselves a lot. And so I feel like everyone has heard this stuff a million times. But what I've learned from the comments is that a ton of people did not discover the series until later. First of all, and watched it since.
Wild. It was wild to go back 5 years later and be like, the views on this video are like triple what they were in the first year. What's happening?
A lot of them are also
videos usually
rewatches.
Rewatches, yeah, for sure.
But I constantly people newly discover it. I'm getting messages from people saying, "Oh, I just watched this for the first time 2 months ago." Oh, welcome.
Super cool. Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to our weird little world. But so I was like, "Oh, everyone knows how this started."
Yeah, the origin story.
They don't. So could you just, briefly tell us the idea of how you got the idea for a narrative vlog show, how you had the terrible idea that it should be the Diary of Anne Frank, and then how you had the great idea that it should be Pride and Prejudice?
I'm glad you reminded me of that, because I definitely would have forgotten about that part. There was, so like I remember being, reading like a story on Tumblr. I don't even know if it was a true story. It was presented as if it was, and being like, this would be a great like high school drama that could play out among a bunch of different high schoolers who have YouTube channels. And then I was like, but then you'd have to write it, and then you'd have to
and that's
like
a lot of work.
That, well, not that the Lizzie Bennet Diaries didn't need to be, but like you'd have to figure out, you'd have to figure out where you were going, and also like it'd be a from scratch story, and so it wouldn't have the activation energy of doing something else. And I think that, wait, didn't Jenny do an Anne Frank series?
Did
Am
she?
I making that up?
I know she'd worked on Lonely Girl 15, which was one of those, maybe the pioneer, like fictional vlogs.
Yes, she did, and that is how I knew who she was. But I'm trying to remember where this came from. The idea of like, could you do? I don't know that it originated from me, but it was an idea that was out there. Could you do something that was? Could you like take a diary, like the sort of like one of the most well-known diaries, and be like, let's turn that into, and like that would be a very powerful thing to, if you pulled it off well. It'd be a very difficult thing to pull off well.
Very difficult thing to pull off on YouTube in that kind of culture. Very difficult not to come across as incredibly insensitive.
Probably the wrong era as well. And I remember, thinking about what's in the public domain, what stories do I love, what stories do I know well, and what, and what stories are like great, and have a lot of characters, timeless, like been remade 1,000 times and they're all great, and like could you do it a different way? And I, my wife introduced me to Jane Austen, and we had watched the BBC miniseries like a dozen times together, because she loved it lots. And it became sort of like the, you're sick in bed, and that's what you do. It's just what you do when you have a bad day. You turn on that particular piece of media. And so I knew it really well. I knew it from like how I had read it, but I had, what I really knew was that portrayal of it, which is like a 6-hour miniseries or something. Seemed super doable. Like it seemed like all the pieces fit into place, where it was like, okay, this is achievable. Easy. Well, I mean, like,
you were right. It was achievable.
Without like we could do this with the amount of money I have. We can, like, someone, and like everybody I talked to about it was excited. And I remember I was in a bar for some reason after some event with Bernie Sue.
Probably to drink.
I don't know what the event was. Bernie Sue and I were probably having a beer, and I told him the idea, and I couldn't do it. Like, there was no way I could pull this off, but I had money and an idea, and that's it, which is not much. Like, that's
not
very
nothing,
far away.
Because look, everyone in Hollywood has an idea or seven, but they don't have any money. Everyone's running around telling people their idea to get the money part. So
yeah,
money is a very big part of it.
But I didn't have any of the skill in how to write fiction. I'd never written fiction at that point. I didn't know how to make video. Like, I knew how to make like me on video, and I knew, like, what I did know is how YouTube worked at the time, and that was, that was the only thing I feel like I really added, except for money and an idea.
Well, I think you added a lot, because what you understood about YouTube meant that we could make a show that fit in that world that a lot of people at first thought might be a real vlog. You also understood how to make something that would be successful, as evidenced by the fact that it was successful. Actually, can I show you, can I head to a clip?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, it's you.
Honestly dangerous, because it's very different from the way that any other fiction story has been told before. So it's entirely possible that it just will not be a good way to tell a story. And I hope that that's not the case. I don't feel like that's the case, but it's possible, and that people won't react well to it. If you don't like it, that's fine, and I'm not worried. I consider it to be an extremely exciting experiment. So that's how I'm feeling, and I hope that you like this. Is straight up, I hope that you like it. I hope.
So my question, cute young man. My question is how you think the experiment went.
Oh my God! Like I think the experiment went way better than I ever could have expected. It is probably the thing that people are most surprised I was at all involved in, which is a really wonderful feeling when you're like this. They're like the science guy.
Do you think that because you do so many eclectic different things that people only know you as one thing? Like some people,
yes, lots of people
don't even know that you do.
Yeah,
I mean, I just know you from TikTok.
I've had to really segment my personality where like people be like, I love your work, and I kind of have to ask like, what
do you
which one? The answer to your question is, I mean, I never expected it. I expected like success to me on this show would have been 40,000 views a video, and the fact that these a lot of the episodes are over 1 million, or and also the feeling of those last episodes when like there was so much energy and excitement, and like I expected that to be I expected that
expectation.
Yeah, I expected that feeling to exist, but I expected it to be among a very small number of people, like hundreds. That's not what it was.
But speaking of you as a writer, you have 2 writing credits in the entire series, and one of them is the first episode, which has already aired. So, do you want to talk at all about your process as a writer helping to shape what was essentially the pilot?
Pilots are the hardest. So I'm glad that we all worked together really hard on it to create the character, to create the tone, to like create the visual language, to figure out how to tell a story this way, which isn't usually what people are doing in vlogs. Usually it's like I will entertain you, and then the next one will be quite different from the last one, or it will be a totally different topic. Whereas to tell a narrative was it's not really done by vloggers, except in sort of a really
until
long,
everyone was inspired by this and created a million things that are
exactly
like it. You invented a genre.
I know, but like I also know that there are a lot of genres that have been invented in online video. So, and I have certainly used other people's inventions as well. It's all building on buildings.
Oh, I thought you invented the internet. Sorry,
that was Al Gore. Me and Al Gore get confused a lot.
Because you're both tall.
I have no idea how tall Al Gore is.
He seems tall.
Because that's what you come to the Look Back Diaries for. Al Gore and I are the exact same height. I looked it up. We're both 6'1".
Oh, wow.
We would give each other a great hug.
Yeah, you're really nice.
Would nestle right on your shoulders. Yeah.
Well, something I've also been doing with these is taking a gander at the comments.
Oh, yeah.
The very top comment says, I'm always fascinated by this episode because I actually get most of Darcy's behavior during the wedding. He's at a party where he only knows 2 people and he seems pretty introverted to me. So he's stuck at a party where his best friend spends most of the night dancing and he doesn't feel comfortable with strangers, so he stays off to the side and watches, which by the way sounds exactly what Lizzie was doing, but I digress. Then despite his best efforts, he winds up catching the garter and having to dance, which, okay, this just goes on. But what I love is that this is the top comment because so many people have gone, yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. And I think that Darcy in our version did become this like very relatable introvert.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I think that's true in other versions too. But
like the class dynamic doesn't work as well in modern times. Like it's not like, look, I have 40,000 pounds a year. I can't really associate with people of this station.
Much harder to empathize. It's very hard to empathize with billionaires. So glad we didn't set him up that way.
Yeah, we could have been like, Darcy, he's really relatable. He's a Walton. He's the son of Sam Walton, or a grandson of Sam Walton. He's just got all that Walmart money, and it makes him really awkward.
And of course, at this point, I think we were still not entirely sure that Darcy was ever going to be cast and shown on camera. Yeah. Or I remember very early on discussions of like, maybe he'll show up in the last episode and be some sort of celebrity cameo or something. So that was still kind of, being discovered, and our characterization of him, which started with me.
Yeah, we should have got Colin Firth, and then it would have been really weird. I did not realize this guy was 58 years old this whole time.
Look, he still got it, okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining me for episode 7 and giving us a taste of your experience around the beginning of this. I've been doing this game where I'm like, I'd love to have you back, but we're going to keep recording and do another episode. So Hank will be back.
I will be back. It's good. You got to be authentic. You got to let people know how things actually work.
Well, we didn't for a long time during the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. I just remember that Bernie had told me not to tell people that we were shooting them like once a month. And that I get asked this question.
And it's like, now I have to lie? Am I supposed to lie to this person?
He very kindly said, you're going to want to work out what your answer to that is. And I was like, okay, thank you. I knew what I wasn't allowed to say, but I didn't know what I was allowed to say.
Yeah, totally.
So I was a real goober. All right. Okay. That's it for episode 7.
Goodbye.
Thank you. For more of my chat with Hank, head over to my Patreon, where there are extended episodes of every single episode. But Hank and I really gabbed for a long time, so check it out.